What if the most important pass Shedeur Sanders throws this year doesn't happen on the field? What if his true power, what separates him from every other quarterback in his class, has nothing to do with arm strength, accuracy, or highlight reels? Because what just happened in Cleveland doesn't look like a game plan. It looks like a blueprint, and not for touchdowns, but for legacy. Let's set the scene. You're a college kid. You're scraping together rent, knocking out assignments, splitting Uber Eats tabs just to eat after class. Nothing glamorous. And then one day, out of nowhere, you get handed a free ticket to watch the most hyped quarterback in America, Shedeur Sanders, take the field live. No strings, no catch, just an invite. In that moment, you're not just going to a game. You're walking into something bigger, and you know exactly who made it happen. That's influence. That's community. That's leadership. When Shedeur announced he wanted to personally get high school and middle school students into the Browns matchup against the Rams for free, people didn't know what to make of it. There was no press release, no team-wide partnership. It wasn't a corporate move, and it wasn't about PR. He just had a thought and acted on it. Spontaneous, raw, real. Most players talk about giving back like it's a rehearsed soundbite 101. But Shedeur actually walked it. No camera crew needed. He didn't just say he valued the fans. He proved it. And here's where it gets interesting. This wasn't just generosity. This was strategy veiled in kindness. Because let's be honest, when a quarterback steps up and floods the student sections with young fans who now feel chosen, that entire stadium changes. Suddenly, it's not just a game, it's a movement. And Shedeur knows exactly what he's doing. He's not trying to win headlines, he's building a tribe. The kids in that crowd, they're not watching passively. They're screaming, waving, roaring, invested. They're not following a player. They're following a message. I see you. You matter. You're part of this too. That's not a gesture. That's ownership. For a roster filled with generational talent and NFL hopefuls, it's Shedeur who's leading without even calling a play. Why? Because he understands something most athletes only realize years too late. True loyalty isn't bought, it's built. And while the league is still debating his future on the field, Shedeur is already mastering the future off it. His actions are bigger than most athletes' press conferences. Because he's not focused on followers. He's focused on connection. He's out in the community, handshaking, listening, showing up, and that's no accident. In fact, this entire move should terrify the NFL's old guard. The executives, the traditionalists, the ones who believe quarterbacks should sit quietly and smile while others do the talking. Because what Shedeur Sanders just pulled off was wildly intentional. He didn't just give out tickets. He reframed what modern leadership looks like. He turned access into identity, fans into believers, and a rivalry game into a cultural moment. Critics talk about his NIL money like it's a problem. Some shake their heads at the fame, the media, the brand deals, the Dion DNA. But what they're missing is the most dangerous piece of all. Shedeur plays the long game. He knows the cameras will fade. The box scores will blur. But what remains are those lasting moments when students, years from now, will tell their kids, "I was there. I didn't just watch Shedeur play. I was part of it." That's the foundation of a legacy, not hype, impact. And keep this in mind, he's doing all of this before his NFL career has even started. While other rookies are focused on their spot in the depth chart, Shedeur is focused on his mark in history. From locker rooms to lecture halls, from the 50-yard line to the final whistle. He's not just connecting people to football, he's connecting football to people. And if you think this is just about one night, one game, or one stadium, you're not paying attention. Because when Shedeur Sanders handed out those tickets, he wasn't just filling seats, he was filling hearts. And that changes everything. It didn't come from a boardroom. There was no press release, no marketing team, no corporate handshake behind closed doors. Just one idea. One random, unfiltered thought that popped into Shedeur Sanders' head while prepping for his first home game at Huntington Bank Stadium. Wouldn't it be cool if we got a bunch of high school and middle school kids into this game for free? No hype, no campaign, just vibes and vision. He hadn't cleared it with the front office. He hadn't even told his agent. Barely even ran it past the team. But that didn't stop him, because deep down, Shedeur wasn't thinking like a rookie quarterback trying to stay in line. He was thinking like a leader, someone who understands that legacy starts with inclusion. That one spontaneous idea turned into something monumentally bigger. Students started buzzing. Teachers posted about it online. Local schools packed buses. Cameras showed high schoolers filing into the stadium with wide eyes and huge smiles. Some stepping into an NFL-level stadium for the first time in their lives. And the wildest part? Shedeur didn't even care if it made headlines. He wasn't chasing content. He wasn't trying to go viral. He just wanted the kids to feel like they mattered. In an era where athletes are bombarded with scripted media training and ironclad PR contracts, Shedeur did something quietly rare. He acted on instinct, on conviction, on what felt right, not because it built his brand, but because it built something more valuable: trust. And if it sounds small, look again, because that one gesture created a ripple effect most athletes will never trigger in their entire careers. That student section, it came to life like never before. Young fans turned into believers. Families tuned in just to catch a glimpse. Social media lit up, not because of a deep bomb or scrambling touchdown, but because a quarterback took the time to invite his community in without being asked. Let's be real, most athletes have the budget, the connections, the access to do something impactful. But how many of them do? Shedeur did. Without waiting for approval or applause, he just moved. And that move, it didn't just bring people to the stands. It brought them into the story. You could feel it the second the players walked out of that tunnel. This wasn't your typical crowd. It wasn't corporate heavy. It wasn't packed with sponsors sipping overpriced drinks in the club suite. It wasn't all alumni in crisp polos. No, this was different. This was kids. Teenagers. First-time fans rocking team gear held together with duct tape and dreams. Middle schoolers waving hand-drawn signs. High schoolers painting their faces like every chant was war paint. The energy? Undeniable. Raw. Loud. Real. They weren't casual fans. They were believers. And they weren't just watching the game, they were part of it. That's what Shedeur Sanders created. When he handed out free tickets to students across Cleveland, he did more than fill a stadium. He transformed it. He turned spectators into stakeholders. He gave the next generation of fans a front row seat to something they normally couldn't afford to be part of. And guess what? They gave everything back. Every third down stop? Deafening. Every Shedeur completion? Earthquake-level response. Every touchdown? Felt like fireworks going off in the soul of that stadium. This wasn't a coincidence. It was strategy, disguised as generosity. See, Shedeur didn't invite those students just to spread kindness. He did it because he understands a deeper truth. When people are given access, they don't just attend. They invest. A free ticket becomes an emotional hook. It's no longer just a jersey. It's a memory. It's a moment. It's a lifelong bond that gets passed down. And when those students screamed for Shedeur on game day, they weren't just cheering for a QB. They were claiming one of their own. That's the magic here. Shedeur unlocked something money can't buy. A crowd that fights with you, not just for you. Because when the student section is full of people who feel seen, chosen, invited into the story, that section becomes a weapon. A roaring, living organism that fuels everything happening on the field. Most players treat fans like extras in a movie. Shedeur made them feel like co-stars. And that shift, from passive supporters to emotionally invested family, changed the entire atmosphere. That's the secret. Shedeur isn't just leading a team, he's building an army. Sending money is easy. Cutting a check, posing for a photo, or posting a tweet about giving back, that's where most athletes stop. But Shedeur Sanders, he did something way more rare. He showed up. In his own words, sending money, that's easy, but you have to actually go out there and be in the flesh. And that's exactly what he did. No entourage, no polished media rollout. Just Shedeur, standing in the heart of Cleveland, surrounded by community, really showing up. When was the last time a quarterback gave out free tickets and then actually stood outside in the cold, greeting fans face to face, shaking hands with students, smiling with kids like he was welcoming them into his living room? That's not PR, that's presence, that's real leadership. See, the thing about showing up physically, especially when you don't have to, is that it sends a message 10 times louder than any social media post ever will. It tells people, I'm not above you, I'm beside you. For a star athlete with a massive NIL portfolio and NFL dreams, it would have been easy for Shedeur to stay backstage, stay in the film room, stay focused on football. That's what every rookie is supposed to do. But Shedeur isn't just playing by the rules, he's rewriting them. Because somewhere along the way, sports forgot that leadership isn't only about what happens between the whistles. It's about connection, and Shedeur gets that. He didn't just invite the city into a stadium. He walked into theirs, into their neighborhoods, their schools, their vibe. He didn't outsource the interaction. He owned it. And because of that, his words hit different. His generosity lands stronger. His backing feels personal. That's what makes this moment bigger than football. It's not about visibility. It's about intentionality. Shedeur's presence said, I see you. I value you. I'm not here to be famous. I'm here to be impactful. How many football players can say their best leadership moment didn't require a stat sheet? And when you pair that kind of authenticity with elite-level talent, you don't just have a quarterback, you have a force. So while others tried to build hype, Shedeur built trust. And the more he shows up, the louder that trust becomes. Here's the thing most athletes never figure out, even the great ones. Support doesn't last forever. Loyalty does. And Shedeur Sanders, he's not just chasing cheers. He's planting something deeper, a loyalty loop. It starts with a moment, like handing out hundreds of free tickets to students. Seems small, even simple. But for the kids in those stands, it's personal. It's the first time some of them feel truly seen by someone under the lights, not above them. That one gesture turned passive observers into active participants. Because loyalty doesn't come from stats, it comes from connection. These weren't just random giveaways to boost optics. Shedeur wasn't padding social media. He wasn't trying to look philanthropic. He was building something that every brand, every team, every superstar secretly wants. Lifetime fans. These students, they remember the moment they didn't need to scrape together money to be part of something big. They remember who made it possible. That kind of gratitude doesn't fade. It multiplies. Next time Shedeur drops a moch line, they're buying. Next time he walks onto the field, they're screaming louder than anyone. Next time sports media questions his potential, they're defending him like he's family. That's the loyalty loop. Give them a chance. They give you everything back. It's marketing without trying to market. It's branding that doesn't need logos. It's legacy in motion. While other rookies are chasing headlines with short-term flash, Shedeur is building a movement that moves with him wherever he goes. College, NFL, endorsements, beyond. This tribe follows because it was built the right way, from the ground up. And here's the genius part. This isn't reactionary, it's intentional. Most athletes try building their brand after they've made it. Shedeur is doing it while he's building himself. He's not telling fans, watch me. He's telling them, come with me. And it's working. Because the students who filled that stadium, they don't just love what Shedeur does, they love why he does it. He made them feel like the foundation, not the afterthought. That's the blueprint. And from this point on, Shedeur isn't just growing a fan base, he's growing an army of believers who'll be with him long after the final whistle. Shedeur Sanders isn't just building a football resume, he's building a brand they can't control. And for some people in the NFL world, that's a problem. Because Shedeur didn't wait for the league to hand him a marketing deal. He already has one. Actually, he has dozens. While some rookies are signing minimum contracts, Shedeur came into the pros with more than $10 million in NIL valuation, a household name, and a fan base that moves like a digital army. Before throwing a single NFL touchdown, he already did what most veterans couldn't. He became bigger than the system that's supposed to own him, and that scares the old guard. Think about it. For decades, the NFL dictated the rise of a star. The team, the sport, and the media made you. But now, Shedeur walked into the building already made. He doesn't need the league to give him a brand. He is the brand. And once you control your own narrative, you become a threat. The whispers are already there. He's flashy, he's too Hollywood. He needs to earn it before acting like a star. Sound familiar? It's the same coded language that's followed every disruptive, forward-thinking black quarterback since the league began. The difference now? Shedeur doesn't need their permission to lead. And he's not leading with ego. He's leading with impact. Free tickets, community givebacks. Authenticity on and off the field. This isn't arrogance. This is strategy done right. The NFL can't slow pace him into silence. He's not boxed in by media training. And they definitely can't ignore him when every move he makes goes viral. Someone like Shedeur redefines the power balance. And when you add in his last name, the legacy of Deion Sanders, suddenly the picture gets even clearer. This isn't a player, it's a movement the old systems can't control. And let's be honest, that's exactly what the sport needs. More athletes who know their worth, who show up with confidence and community-first thinking. Athletes who remember where they came from and who bring others with them. Shedeur's not playing by their rules. He's writing his own. And if that makes the league nervous, good, because real change always does. For decades, the perfect quarterback was painted with the same brush. Quiet, humble, corporate, speak when spoken to, smile in post-game interviews, shake hands, go home, lead, but never lead too loudly. But Shedeur Sanders, he ripped that blueprint in half, burned it, then built his own. Because Shedeur doesn't just lead with play calls, he leads with presence, with energy, with connection. This new school of quarterbacking doesn't just demand execution, it demands engagement. And Shedeur isn't waiting until he wins a title to start building something bigger. He's already doing it. He understands that today's QB is more than a thrower of touchdowns. They're the voice of the franchise, the face of the movement, the bridge between the locker room and the crowd. And no one's building that bridge faster or more authentically than him. Let's break it down. While most rookie QBs are trying to keep a low profile, Shedeur is organizing entire student sections, giving away free tickets and showing up in real time to connect with fans personally. That's a different kind of leadership. Unfiltered, unscripted, but calculated as hell. He's not interested in just making plays. He's building something people want to follow. And here's what's wild. His leadership style is both traditional and radical. Traditional in the sense that he values character, community, and legacy. Radical in that he's doing it on his own terms, outside the traditional NFL media machine. He doesn't just post game recaps, he lives the culture. He doesn't wait for fans to show up, he brings them in. He's not just trying to impress a coach, he's trying to uplift everyone watching. In Shedeur's world, leadership isn't reciting a script. it's writing new chapters. And the game is evolving with him. Players today are more than athletes. They're brands, entrepreneurs, community leaders, activists. And quarterbacks, they're expected to set the tone. Shedeur has the tone fully dialed in. From NIL money to media attention, from field mechanics to off-field impact, he's proving that this generation of QBs doesn't need a filter. They need vision, and that vision includes every fan, every community, every person who's ever felt excluded from the conversation. Shedeur's not stepping into a role, he's expanding it. And the league, whether it's ready or not, will have to adjust. At this point, it's clear. Shedeur Sanders isn't building a football career. He's building a legacy. One rooted in presence, in people, and in a kind of leadership most pros don't reach until they retire, if ever. Because while the world is charting his yards, passes, and completions, Shedeur is charting something else: impact. The story doesn't end with highlight reels or touchdown celebrations. It lives on in the memories of the students who walked into that stadium for free and felt, even just for one night, like they were part of something that mattered. They didn't cheer because Shedeur was famous. They roared because he opened the door. That's the difference. Moments on the field come and go. Stats fade. Numbers get buried. But stories become legend. And this is how those legends are born. Not because he won a ring, not because he broke rookie records, but because he gave people a reason to believe in something bigger than the game. That student who sat in the upper bleachers with the homemade sign, they'll never forget that day. The middle schooler who fist-bumped Shedeur at the gate, their entire football journey may have just started. The kids screaming in the front row, face painted, voice gone by halftime, they'll be back every week, loyal for life. That's the real scoreboard Shedeur is playing on, the one you can't see on ESPN's bottom line. And the genius of his move? It wasn't loud, it wasn't flashy, it was human. He didn't just hand out tickets. He handed out belonging, wrapped in cleats and crowd noise and Cleveland grit. Because in a world where athletes often feel unreachable, Shedeur made himself part of the people. That kind of access builds something no endorsement deal can buy: trust. And with trust comes momentum. With momentum comes movement. And with movement, legacy. So as the lights fade on that game and the headlines turn to the next stat line, just remember, Shedeur Sanders isn't just trying to be great between the lines. He's trying to mean something beyond them. And that, more than any touchdown, is how legends last forever. This was never just about football. Yeah, Shedeur Sanders throws touchdowns. Yes, he can extend plays, read defenses, and move the sticks. But if you've been watching closely, you already know he's playing a different game. Because the most unforgettable play of this season didn't happen on the field. It happened when a quarterback handed out free tickets to students just because it felt right. No press release, no agenda, just a moment of intentional leadership. And that one gesture, it broke the traditional mold of what a quarterback's job looks like. He didn't just invite fans into the stadium, he invited them into his story. It's one thing to lead a team. It's something else entirely to lead a movement. And what Shedeur did, on instinct, not instruction, put him on a path most athletes never find: legacy. Not the legacy that lives on in Super Bowl rings or MVP banners. Not yet, anyway. This is a different kind of legacy. The kind written in memory and connection. Those kids who showed up with free tickets, they'll never forget it. They won't just remember the outcome of the game. They'll remember how they felt being there. Seen, valued, included. And when someone makes you feel like that, especially when they don't have to, you don't just become a fan. You become family. That's the loyalty Shedeur's building. That's why his brand will go so much further than football alone. It's not about popularity. It's about people. Real ones. The the kind who will still be shouting his name 10 years from now, whether he's wearing a jersey or changing the game entirely. And here's the twist. All of this, he's doing before his pro career has even truly started. He's not waiting for the league to give him influence. He already has it, and he's choosing to use it to give back, not just stack up. Because when the final whistle blows, stats fade, highlights get replaced, but impact sticks. And that's what Shedeur Sanders is chasing, not clout. Culture, not just wins. Weight, something that sticks when the jerseys come off. So ask yourself this, are we just witnessing the rise of a young quarterback or the beginning of a new blueprint for greatness?